Alrighty, let's talk about this little gem right here. We had a flooding issue, so checked to make sure we had spark. You know, the spark plug's all wet. I mean, it just, couldn't get it cranked up. Got it dried out with a fresh plug. I could get it to run, and as soon as I come off of the trigger, it would die. Tried to tune around that problem, and then we used my favorite testing tool, pressure and vacuum gauge. So I take the carburetor off, I hook this up, I pressure test the carburetor, and it's leaking like a sieve. All right, put a new carburetor kit in here, get it all back together, fires up, runs and idles. As soon as you hit the throttle, let it run, let off of it, and it blubbers to a stop. Hard to get it back going again. So I thought, okay, when you come off of wide open throttle and the engine starts slowing down, it builds more, there's more vacuum in the engine when it's at idle, and slowing down, there's more pressure in there when it's full tilt boogie. All right, so maybe I got a small air leak. Before I can say this carburetor's dead, and I cleaned it. So now the saw's back apart again, and just using some of the tools that come in this Mighty Vac kit. You know, there's rubber stoppers and all different shapes and sizes, and some other fittings to do some other fun stuff. I mean, it's not just a one-trick pony for doing this. So blocked off the intake, hooked up the pulse line, blocked off the exhaust. Now, all I use, you can buy these like 6x6 rubber tiles. I think that's like 1/8 of an inch thick or something like that, 3/16. And you just cut these into whatever size you need. So as I've needed them for different applications, I've got all these, so it's super easy, so it's not that much of a pain in the ass, or buying hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of testing blocks. Here, hold on one sec. Here's the specialty block off part for 201 TC. That actually goes into the pulse line. You bolt this down over where the carburetor goes, and then you hook up your vacuum pressure line to this after you block off the exhaust with your own homemade doohickey. And, you can just do it the easy way. This is actually kind of convenient. I do use this on occasion. But it's really important before you just say, oh, I'm going to throw a carburetor at it. These are actually kind of expensive. List price from or through Husqvarna on the Power website, I think it's $113 or $116 for this carburetor. Pretty pricey. But, replacement cost on these, this is a 455. I think the new 455s and 460s are shit like $600. Yeah, moreover, I want to get this right the first time. So it's always a great idea to pressure and vacuum test. Take the extra couple of minutes so that way I know when I get a brand hammer new OEM carburetor and I stick it on here, I have a high degree of certainty that it's going to perform and do exactly what it's supposed to. You guys have really, I learned a lot of hard lessons over the years, and being able to utilize, when I bought this, I want to say they were like $100, $115. They're probably like 150 now. It was years ago when I bought this, but it gets used on a regular basis, and I make less mistakes like this. Anyway, so I probably won't do a follow-up video on this because this is really straightforward. But that's how you get there. Don't just assume. You got to prove stuff. I'm not a big fan of going outside and pulling. That's dumb. Check all your regular stuff. I checked the fuel. I made sure, I actually pressure tested the fuel line to make sure that there weren't any leaks in the fuel line, any cracks or anything like that. This fuel line, I can get you in there, looks relatively new. It's not hard. It's still nice and rubbery. So, but you never know. I mean, I've seen times where people have tried to pull off a fuel filter, put a new one on there, and crack the fuel line. So it starts sucking air much more readily than it will suck fuel. So you'll end up with a lean condition to the point where you can actually score a saw like that. Because the harder you pull, the least resistance is the air. All right, enough about that nonsense. I'm gonna clean up my trash bench. All this just for, hey man, you need a carb. Sorry, I tried to fix it. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this. Try to keep it short and sweet, and hopefully you learned something today. Thank you.